Okay, so now we're back. We have sewn the lining piece together and we've sewn our outer fabric together. We've turned our outer fabric right side out and we've turned and we've left our lining fabric the way we sewed it. So inside out, I guess. So you've got the raw edges here and the raw edges here meeting. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clip the bag lining to the outer fabric all the way around. And I mean, you don't have to do this step, but just putting a couple of clips in place does help it sort of stay together. And what we will do then is we will sew the channel. Okay, so we've got our lining piece and we've got our outer piece, and we'll clip off any extra threads we see hanging there. And what I'm going to do now is I like to start where we left that little gap. So this is that little channel piece that we did before on the inside of the fabric, where we sewed from the top to there, we back stitched, we lifted out our needle, we left a little gap. So this is it there. All right, and that's where you're going to be able to put your ribbon through in just a jiffy. So we take this over to the machine. Just make sure, I like to have that all covered in so you can't see it, but again, not a big deal. It's just because I like to be a bit of a perfectionist. Okay. We come over to our machine. We're going to pop our foot down, needle down, back stitch to start. We're going to go all the way around with about 1/4 of an inch of seam from the hem. So we're basically attaching the lining piece. Now see, that didn't actually catch, so that is a good example of how not to do it. It slipped, and that's because I didn't have the clips in. That's another reason I like to have them in, because it does hold it in place, and you can be certain that you're going to catch both fabrics then. Okay, go back under here and pop our foot down again, second time lucky. Needle down, back stitch, and we'll go all the way around, creating the first part of that channel. So just going about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Sewing the lining and the outer fabric together. Take your time. We're nearly back where we started. And if I can sew a straight line, they should match up. And they do. Back tack, lift my needle, and this is that little gap that we created before. But now what I want to do is I want to run another seam from the end, from the bottom of that gap all the way around, just like I did. I don't even need to cut my thread at this stage because I can do that at the end. So So if you hope you got that, I'm going to do another stitch all the way around, just like we did. There's no need for pins now. So inside there is where we're going to be able to thread our ribbon. So needle down, that stitch, and go all the way around, and we should end up back in that spot. So we're about 1.5 inches, 2 inches from that initial hem. Gorgeous is this material. It's beautiful. All right, so we're coming up to that little gap, that hole. Line her up. Back stitch, and you're done. Lift, cut your threads, and you might be able to see on the inside actually, because it's a white background. God, this will test my sewing straight skills, won't it? And you can see that's what we've done. So the hem's there. This is the channel here. And we will now, I have a ribbon on a piece, on a safety pin. And now what's going to happen is I'm going to thread that through all the way. And I'll show you when I get to the end.